And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm touching base with you as I always do every day during the weekends, even sometimes during the weekend. So, how are you guys doing? Happy Tuesday. It is Tip Tuesday, and today we'll be talking about uh, how to find a event photographer. Let me just, as I need to always do my trusty banners. The trusty banners are always wonderful as I share. But it's Tip Tuesday, and we're gonna be talking about tips on how to choose an event photographer for business and personal events. That's what we're going to be doing. So, but let me just say good morning to a bunch of folks. I think I'm live. I think everyone sees me. Good morning to Jay, Mr. Miss G.R. Houston Jack. Lisa's in the building. I see her. Yes. And so it's going to be an easy start. Today is Education Day. It's Tip Tuesday. And that's what we do here. As we wine in, well, I should say, slide into education. Hey, Derek is in the building. What's going on? We're gonna wait for some folks to get here. At least give them at least 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes. So I don't know if you've been checking out the headlines. I always like to give you guys the headlines before we start, so that way you can kind of like put your eyes on some things that are happening in the world. And so headlines right now. Yesterday, Iran vows response after strike. It blames on Israel, demolishes the consult in Syria. The Israelis went in, and I guess you can call it an assassination of some hierarchy folks in the Iranian consul. So in Syria, so that's happening. That means it's probably be hearing about retaliation and what's going on there. So it makes it a little more complicated in the Israel world. Also, speaking of Israel, the World Central Kitchen pauses Gaza aid, saying 7 members killed during IDF attacks. That's according to ABC News. And so another humanitarian fiasco where innocent people are dead. I mean, the war is just ridiculous. Like, this thing needs to end. Nothing has been accomplished through war. It just doesn't happen. Also in the headlines, this is something that's been popping up all in sports world for a couple of weeks. Emotional Angie Reese says she has been attacked so many times and threatened since winning NCAA title in 2023. And they've been giving her a hard time also this year. And so that's just a headline that you may want to dive into. It's quite fascinating, but it's fascinating, but not fascinating. It's because of she's black, and and that's, I mean, if she was a white girl, it wouldn't be a problem, and she's just responding when she wins, when she makes a basket, when she's just, she's sharing her excitement of winning. And so many people are making a big deal of that. So anyway, let me see. Someone's beeping me here. I gotta make sure the beep is not from someone in the neighborhood here. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Nice. It's not. It's none of you trying to reach out to me, because I said I have to make sure I look at my phone when it beeps. Yeah. G says, folks love to beat up on black women. They don't want us to have nothing. Nothing. It's just horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I was just like, I mean, the girl did nothing wrong. And I just don't understand. It's just, I was listening to, and I'm gonna give this something for you guys to view. I think it's gonna be really good for you to dive into. Um, but America has a problem. And for those that don't think America has a racist problem or racist root problem that needs to be uprooted, I don't know what planet you're living on. I don't know what country you're living in. I just don't know. It is evident in every way. However, there's an extra. I challenge everyone to take a moment to there's a on YouTube from the Center of Faith and Justice, a great interview, a panel discussion at I think it's Georgetown University, false white gospel, rejecting Christian nationalism, reclaiming true faith, and refunding democracy, refounding democracy. And it is so good. It is one of the best discussions I've heard in a while. The moderator does a great job. There's some really cool people on the panel that you will recognize from different parts of media and education. Really, it's education. And but if you get a chance, take a look at Center on Faith and Justice on YouTube and click on false white gospel, rejecting Christian nationalism, reclaiming true faith, and refounding democracy. It is so good, so good. And I just wish more white people would see this kind of, I mean, it's good for everyone. But like the panelists are saying, and these are white and black panelists, people of color, and all people. But it is really interesting how I love when white people challenge other white people because it technically is not our issue. It's not. It's white folks in our country that need to realize, and not all, but a percentage, that we're all equal. Yeah, and that there's no room in a beautiful democracy with racism and feeling you're better than others. Um, G says, folks consciously choose to keep their head in the sand. Hey, Brian is in the building. Good morning, Brian. Brian is in the building. Dr. Tachi is in the building. She says, G, exactly. As little kids like to say, worry about yourself. Lisa says the commentator was praised every single thing Caitlin did. Yeah, 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 yeah. Caitlin did same things, but she didn't get any calls. They didn't call her out. They didn't say she was being mean spirited or, you know. Anyway, it's just sometimes these things just make you like want to just scream because like why must people be so bigots? But they're among us. It's interesting in this panel discussion, and it was a piece of it. They were saying one of the pastors. She was saying she was not a pastor now, but she used to be a pastor. She was a bishop, and she says that there are so many ministers around the country in white churches getting death threats from their parishioners if they move away from Trump. Church. We had this, I mentioned this yesterday, but it is crazy. American Christianity, the Christian white church is a oxymoron in just a statement itself. White Christian church. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the discussion is excellent. Dive into it. It is worth it. It is worth listening to. Hey, Kimmy Kim is in the building. It's so good to see you. Brian says, I've consistently voiced racism is not my problem. That's white folks. They created it. They figured it out. How about they need to figure it out? Yeah. G says, folks need to get a backbone and stand up. Where is the character and integrity? My goodness. Yeah. See, my thing is, if I'm a pastor of a church, see, I grew up under a PK. That would not be tolerated. Where are the preachers? Where are the real pastors that say, you death threats? Death threats? Or You decide, you say, I'm going to leave this church because you don't support Trump. I'll be like, my father would be like, goodbye. My father would be like, goodbye. Let the good Lord kick you in the pants where he, whoever, knock the, let the door hit you in the backside. Yeah, it's insane. The insanity, death threats in church by so-called folks that say they're Christians. It is the insanity of the word Christian. But I'm not going down that road today. Today is about Tip Tuesday, and we got some tips, and we're going to talk about those, right? We're going to dive into that like really soon. Like, give me a 1 minute. I just wanted to say hello to a couple more people and just read some of these comments. And she says, my mother often stood alone when she was a minister. It's what you have to do. That's right. Being a pastor, being a leader, leadership can be a lonely place. Leadership, if you're doing leadership well, it can be a lonely place. It really can be. Did I get everybody in here? Yes, 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 yes. Hey, Dorian's in the building. Good morning, Mr. Dorian. Good morning. He says, everyone, please say a prayer for my glasses and hope they are in good hands of a stranger. You still haven't found those glasses? Oh, sorry, buddy. Yeah, let's keep you. Hopefully someone will report them. Were you able to like call the car service? Hopefully someone will turn them in. That's what I did when I lost my phone when I was in Dubai. I was like, I lost my phone. Could someone please help me? I was just in the Uber. Could you please find my phone? To go back to the hotel, take a cab back to the hotel, and then they tracked down the Uber driver, and he came with my phone, and I was so happy. Nothing like being overseas and losing your phone. Hopefully it'll show up, Dorian. Okay. Okay. Lisa says, I used to go to a mega church in Queens. The pastor was a former congressman. I hated when they would bring the politicians in to speak to the congregation. I didn't come for that, sir. I agree. I believe there's a separation between church and state, as according to the Constitution. Separation between church and state. That's why Christian nationalist is totally anti-constitutional. Yeah. G says she's sending good vibes to you, Dorian. Yes, she is. Okay, let's get to class. Let's get to class. Let's start. Class is in session. Am I all cued in? Slide. Oh, let me go all the way back here to slide 1, and now we're all queued up. Here we go. Today's topic: tips on how to choose an event photographer for business and personal events. Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk. Choosing the right event photographer is crucial for capturing memorable moments, whether it's a business conference, a gala, or a personal celebration. Here are some foolproof tips to help you find the best event photographer. And if you have any questions along the way, feel free to put a Q dot and then question. Q dot question, or just Q space question. That will help me know where the questions are as they come up in the comment box. Okay, professional. Let me knock off this little banner here. Let me get this little banner thing gone here. Let me hide that. There we go. Let's hide that. Okay, there we go. Professional quality matters. Professional quality matters, and you better believe that. Opt for a professional photographer with high quality equipment. Flawless photos captured on professional cameras outperform smartphone shots. Can I say that again? Flawless photos captured on professional cameras outperform smartphone shots. All the folks out there that say, "Oh yeah, I just need a bunch of folks to come with their cell phones, and they're gonna take great shots, and I'll use that for my wedding." Not for wedding. Elite skills are showcased through exceptional pictures. Professional photographers understand which moments are important to capture. Provide a list of VIPs, and they'll secure the perfect shots. Yes, the shot list. I always ask my clients, please give me a shot list. When I'm shooting for the Manhattan Chamber or shooting for the Brooklyn Conservatory of Music here in Brooklyn, or Folk Green Conservancy, or those are my like main gig clients, like I do repeated event photography with. And what they're all good at, what they're all good at, all three, is giving me my shoot list. And the and and not only just a list of names, they literally provide a photo and a name. So that way, as a photographer, since I am looking for faces, I look out into the world and I say, "Oh, yes, that's Mr. Such and Such. Let me get his photo. Oh, look, that's Senator. What's her name? Let me get their photo." I cannot overemphasize how important the for people that are, if you're going to hire a photographer, or if you are hiring a photographer, and you have business events or special events with special people, or even your personal event, like you're doing a birthday party for mom and dad. People need to know who the real people, I mean, the most important people of the event. Nothing like a shot list or a shoot list for an event. Let me go on. Don't want to linger there too much. Backup and reliability. Yes, you want your photographer to back up all of his photos for you. For instance, I had this conversation yesterday. As a matter, this is I was it's things. This is me how I planned to talk about this like 2 weeks ago, and yesterday I was talking to one of my clients, and he says, "Oh man, do you have such and such photos for such and such event?" He said, "Oh, you may not have it, but that's okay, no problem." I said, "Oh no, you're one of my main clients. I have every one of your photos. I have a on cloud all of your events." And he's the new manager over events at the you know at the my clients. And I said, "Oh no, I have everything you need." He was like, "Oh my gosh, you even have such and such name." He named the event. I said, "Oh yeah, I have that event. It's in the cloud." I said, "My main clients," I said, "For most of my clients, I do retain most of the raw images for about 5 years. And then I start deleting, things that are like, but usually about 5 years. If it was just something that was like, spare of the moment, I'll probably get rid of it 3. But I keep hold of my clients' stuff. So, because you never know when they may want to go back and say, "Hey, Ron, we're having a party, and we want to create a multimedia something to create like, a phototage of all the stuff that we've done in the past, and you have all those photos. Can we pick from some of those?" It's important that your photographer backs up stuff. Important. And reliability. Event photographers back up their work regularly. You won't lose precious moments due to accidental deletion or camera mishaps. Most professionals use cloud servers, ensuring you have copies, even if equipment fails. I learned that lesson years ago. I went to an event, not an event. This was I learned it for events, but I was photographing someone's home. It was a client's home. Doing real estate photography. And I did the staging and the setting up, and I staged it, set it up, bought the camera gear, set it up, took the photos, and got home. And the card was corrupt. It was corrupt. And I only had one card in the camera. And I said, this sucks. Luckily, the client was going to be back in the house the following, 2 days later. And then I was able to reschedule at their convenience to shoot the home all over again. And from that point on, every shoot all my cameras, one, have two cards, one for the actual shoot and one as a backup. So important. Can I tell you how important that is? Especially when people are paying you to photograph their event and you can't repeat the event. It's over. Once the event is done, it's over. Next one, seamless blending in. I love this one because this is so important. If you prefer natural, candid shots, professional photographers are experts at blending in. Yes, the professionals, not the ones that want to be photographers. They capture unique photo opportunities while everyone else is enjoying the event. uh, Dorian says, my card tip is always tethering a computer with a Wi-Fi card. Ooh, I don't have a Wi-Fi card. I need a Wi-Fi card to tether. Oh, Dorian, we got to talk about that one. I don't know that tip. We're going to add that one in. Add that one in. But yes, one of the gifts of hiring a professional photographer, or if you want to be a professional photographer, this Tip Tuesday is for either side of the coin. If you are hiring a if you're hiring a event photographer, or if you want to be an event photographer, these tips are applicable to both sides of the camera lens. Oh, here's a question. Do you wear a uniform when working at an event, like all black or something that allows you to blend into the background? Absolutely. I am usually in a black turtleneck if it's the winter, a black polo shirt with black pants. Yes. Once in a while, I'll wear khakis depending on where I am, but it's usually dark colors. I want to blend in. I do not want people to see me. I don't want them to see me coming. Good question. Good question, G. Hey, good morning, Gary. Yeah, that is a good one. Especially when I'm photographing events that are stage, requires people on a stage, like orchestras, or the symphony or chamber music or jazz concerts. I am always in black. I want to blend in. I also use the columns. I use the structures of the building to hide behind, to kind of like nest myself in, and then use my zoom lens to get the shot. I'm usually in event photography using zoom lenses. I do have in my bag usually a prime lens, or if someone wants to do a portrait shot, a real quick, like really nice portrait shot. But most of the time, I have two lenses and two cameras. Right. Two lenses, two cameras, and I'm moving throughout the building so that no one sees me. Okay. Um, Elevate sharing. Share event photos on platforms like Facebook, Well, obviously, we know Instagram and all the rest of them, TikTok. High quality images generate interest for future events. So people say, why do photographers put their stuff online? Well, first of all, one, my clients usually like when I put my stuff online because I usually include their Instagram account or Facebook account or name their business or so that's usually really cool. They like that kind of stuff. But as photographers, we want to make sure that people know what we do. I probably should do more of it. Like, I really do need to put more of my event photography out because that's what I do. I really am an event photographer. I am a street photographer, but I am also, for my bread and butter, is I am an event photographer. I do events at churches, events at office buildings, events for the community. I do events all the time. That's where that's what I said, my main bread and butter comes from event photography. Headshots come and go, but it's the event photography that I am thrilled. I get to interact and mingle with people. But yeah, share, share. Some of my friends are like, Ron, you use social media so well. I still feel like I don't use it enough. I don't use social media enough as a photographer. Someone mentioned to me the other day, I think it was Mikey we were hanging out, talking and chatting, and we said there are thousands and thousands of great photographers in the world, and you don't even know who they are. And the reason we were talking about is that some photographers are great at marketing themselves. They have good branding coaches. They have people that put their work out into the open, or they put their work out into the streets. They put their work on social media. They elevate their work by sharing. And the more you elevate your work, the more people see you. For instance, by being on YouTube now and been on Instagram and doing these touch base dailies over these years, believe it or not, some of my clients have seen me on here and then say, "Can you do my event?" Yeah, just happened a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago to be exact. "Hey, Ron, could you shoot our event?" Then after I shot it, went, "Oh my gosh, we love your work. We got another event coming up. Can you shoot for this one?" That's how you do it, photographers. If you are a photographer, you got to tell people about what you do. You got to put yourself out there. And Dorian says, events are super hard to me. I wish I had that time, talent and time. Oh, I love it. There's nothing. It's so exciting to photograph events. I mean, the people I meet, like anchormen or from CNN, or I get to meet the mayor of New York, or I get to photograph and the governor of New York at different events that I've been in. I've had responsible for. I get to meet some of the most important people probably in our time because of my event photography. I get to see them come in the door and I get to hang out with them and, kind of like just have a conversation and or give them a good, hey, you look good tonight. You know what? I love you on CNN. Oh, you know what? You were anchoring that show on CNS, sorry, CNBC. I like that. MSNBC anchors I've had the opportunity to photograph at events. Oh yeah, I love your program. I love your Saturday show. Thank you for inspiring us. If there's nothing, I'm sure, I mean, those that do wedding photography think wedding photography is just as good, but I love event photography. It really does. elevate you with people, and you get to see people in a different environment. So I love it. As I said, if you have a question, make sure you put the Q and then the question. Q and then a question. Serena says, it sure has oh yeah, it sure has given him access. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Okay, next one. Next one is understand photography styles. Different styles suit various events. Hello? Not every event photographer can do every event. There are event photographers that specialize in some events, like we had a couple of weeks ago. Dwayne Knight talking about funeral event photography. Funeral photography. That's an event. That's an event photographer. He's one of 50 in the world, right? He was on our show 2 weeks ago. Wedding photography. For weddings, professional photography is a must. Who are you going to say, I want to use a cell phone? I'm going to use a smartphone for my wedding. Have you ever heard of something so crazy? I had a bride one time tell me, she says, Ron, what if I just had everyone bring their smartphones and take pictures? Wouldn't that be okay for my wedding? I said, hell no. You might want to create a collage or something with those photos of your guests. But if you want photos that are going to be memorable, that you want to put in an album, that you want your children to look at and your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, you need to hire a wedding photographer. A wedding photographer. And there are some awesome wedding photographers out there. I mean, that's all they do. Wedding photography is probably the second most expensive of all photography. Wedding photography is probably the second most expensive of all photography, either side of the lens. Okay? Just so you know. You're probably saying, what's the number one? Sports photography. Sports photography is the most expensive of all photography because the lenses that they use, the camera, the lenses that they use can also cost them, cost me if I was to go into that profession, $10,000 for a lens, $5,000 for a lens. That's just one lens. Yeah. But wedding photography is the second on both sides. It costs money to do weddings. And wedding photography not only requires one person. Now, we had Justin on last week who does wedding photography for people that are getting married at City Hall, which I didn't even know was a genre. He does City Hall weddings. Justin last week. However, wedding photography, may I say it again, is not a solo job. Most times, the minimum needed for good photography in a wedding are 2 photographers. Some photography companies or crews have 3 photographers. So when that photographer tells you the wedding photography costs $12,000, that's cheap. Believe it or not, that's cheap. 10,000 cheaper, but that's cheap. The average cost of a wedding photographer For an average wedding, the base number is $10,000, roughly. Why? Because event photography requires you to take pictures of the event. That means someone has to be dedicated to the bride. Someone has to be dedicated to the groom. And then if it's just two of you, but if it's three of you, one person he's dedicated or she's dedicated to the event, meaning the guest and the details, the cake, the forks, the knives, the napkins, the embroidery, the gown, the groomsmaids, the bridesmaids, the best man, the maid of honor. There's a lot of work in wedding photography, y'all. So I'll never forget. Someone says, "Ron, how much is that? How much is it to do wedding photography?" And I said, "About $10,000." They looked at me like, "What? That's insane." And then they said, "Oh, someone quoted me $5,000, or someone quoted me $4,000." I said, "They ain't telling you all that they need to tell you." When a wedding photographer tells you it only costs $5,000 to do a wedding, they ain't telling you the truth. There's a whole lot. You got to pay for your album. You got to pay for the selection of your photos for this big event. It's so many details, right? You got some photographers have to off. Here it is. Here it is. Dorian says another genre is editing for phone photography. One of my friends have a whole company that does that, quite lucrative. I never heard of that. But in the statement of using that, some wedding photographers, they outsource the editing. So they got to pay the editors to get you perfect and beautiful photography. Yeah, think about that. So guys, the next time you think about wedding photography or your friend says, "Do you know a wedding photographer?" Ask them before you go to that photographer. You know it's going to cost about $10,000. Are you ready for that? And if they say no, don't bother. Let's just say don't bother the photographer. But your great photographers cost 20 grand. 20 grand. There's a whole lot of moving parts. So think about it. Don't go to a photographer and say, "Can you do my wedding? I only have $1,000. No. Yes, don't do that to you. Don't do that. Don't insult your photographer friend. Okay, I've dwelled too long on this one. Let me go to the next one. Okay, corporate event photography. Consider a photographer who specializes in corporate settings. One of my favorite things is corporate settings. I love mingling with executives. I love mingling with the guests. I love it. Usually my office photography takes me into skyscrapers in New York City, which is usually a double whammy. I usually get there early. I scout out I scout out how the room is, my best angles. Am I going to shoot from the right corner, from the left corner? Is there a middle aisle that I can shoot from the front? Are there side aisles? I got to assess all of that before I start shooting. But the thing I like being in New York City is that I get there early because most of my photo shoots or most of my events photography are in skyscrapers in New York City. And so I get a chance to walk around the building and take photos of New York City landscapes. I kind of like that's like an extra bonus for me. I walk and I look down Fifth Avenue or Seventh Avenue, or and then I get views that no one will probably get other than the folks that work in that building. Like, Ron, how did you get that shot? Oh, I shot that at an event. He says, Dorian says, I love corporations for the views. Yeah, we corporations in New York City have the best offices, the best views. I love getting there early for it. But again, with corporate events, you want to be in there. Again, you want to be stealthily maneuvering. You want to catch the gestures. You want to catch the hands going up to a question like you see here. You want to see people laughing if they're before the event starts. You want to see people like patting each other on the back or giving someone a hug or shaking hands. You want to, that's what you want to do. When you are doing corporate photography, you want to get it all in. You want to make sure that the person that did not make the event wish they were at the event. Or if they are not at the event, they feel like they're at the event because of your corporate images. Next one, concerts and galas. Love it, love it. Look for someone experienced in capturing dynamic moments. Absolutely. It's all about the faces. It's about the movement. It's about the dancing. It's the people in the audience. And if you are a concert photographer, you want access. Meaning, I always ask, can I have access to the stage? They go, yeah, because I want to photograph the band or the singer with the audience in front of them. Those shots are the best shots. You know why? Because it tells the audience you have access. It says you have access, that you weren't some fan in front of the auditorium taking pictures or in front of the stage. It tells the audience, the viewer, you were hired to take those pictures. You have access to take those pictures. It's 12 o'clock. It's my little warning. Okay. Anthony says, those are the shots I enjoy. I love being a sniper. By the time you see me, it's too late. I gotcha. Yes, Anthony. That's how we roll in event photography. Snipers. We're clicking away. We're shooting away. Nice. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. That was a good one. I love that one. Next one. Gear matters. Gear matters in event photography. Camera bodies. Choose a camera with excellent low light capabilities. Higher megapixels counts. Pixels counts, picks up into details, but remember to consider file size to make sure I put an emphasis on that. Oh, I always have my camera on medium instead of large files. I put it on medium. Now you probably say, Ron, you could probably get more out of doing it low. I usually put it on medium, and then one of my cards is in JPEG in my camera, and the other card is in RAW. So if my client needs something really quick, and they just want something quick for the, I know the shot is good. They need something for their social media. I can easily go to my JPEG because it's less megapixels being used, and I can send it to them, edit real quick on a quick app, send it to them, and then they can use it for their social media the next day to tell people, oh, we had a good time last night. But yeah, camera body. Make sure you get a good camera body. In a lot of cases in today's world, mirrorless. But beware if you have the early mirrorless cameras, and you put your camera in silent mode. Silent mode will give you what they call banding, like these little lines from the LED lights in the building. You get banding if you put your camera on silent mode. Don't know why. I do believe the newer cameras, they perfected that. But yeah, you get this thing called banding. Next thing, So look at your camera body. Make sure you get the good ones. Lenses. Opt for lenses with a maximum f-stop of 2.8 or lower. Wide apertures allow more light and create a pleasing depth of field. You know, like this bokeh over here, like that little bokeh feel. Yes. Like a lens that's a 1.8, 2.8. But most of the time when you're doing events in crowds, you go for 5.6. But then when you get the individual that's speaking, you go for that 2.8. Sometimes you can even get down to a 1.8 for all the photographers out there. Yes, your lens matters. Lighting, equipment for dark spaces, portable artificial lighting, flash or continuous light is essential. You may need flash. You may need flash on a stand. You need a flash on your camera, depending on the environment. I know one thing, as an event photographer, you always have a flash. You always have a flash in the bag because you never know when the environment will change. Dorian says this, and remember we talked about raw images last week? Look at what Dorian says. I love raw. It makes editing and color manipulating amazing. We talked about that last week in our Tip Tuesday. See how all this comes together? See how this all comes together? Next. And last, remember, a skilled event photographer not only documents the occasion, but also enhances your brand or personal memories. Choose wisely. You're a photographer. Do not go out and just grab someone off the street. I remember one time being at in an event and someone says, "Oh, Ron, I love the way you photograph such and such event. Can you photograph my event?" I said, "Sure." She goes, "How much would it cost me?" And I gave her the price. She goes, "Oh, you're expensive." I said, "No." I said, "This is what I charge for an event photographer, event photography." She goes, "Oh, well, someone else someone else suggested $150 an hour." I said, "Well, you can go with that person." You telling me that it's $150 an hour? It won't change my price. My price is non-negotiable. It is what I'm worth. What I bring to the table is years of experience. That's Anthony said, "That's yesterday's prices." That's yesterday's prices. Serena says, "Exactly. I'm not changing my prices. No, this is not bargain basements. No. This is the price. And when you hire me, you're hiring me for me, my personality, how I connect with your clients, my years of experience as being a photographer, my years of experience as being an event photographer, and loving what I do, and the skill set I come with." Now, that person that you said is $150, they may have all of that too. And you may want to go there. But guess what? My price is what it is. And, well, then she got a little arrogant. Like, I was like, I got to tell this story. She got a little arrogant. And then she said, "Well, I don't understand why it costs so much more." And I said, "Well, maybe," I said, I don't like to pull the periodical card, but um, I don't know if that $150 photographer has a National Geographic behind them, or the New Yorker has a photo in one of those establishments. Not to pull out the card, but I said, you hire for experience. You hire for the experience that the person brings to the table. Oh, and then when I said that, she was like, "Oh." So yeah, you know, you hire. And then, one of my family members hired for engagement party, a a less expensive photographer. And she was like, "Oh, Ron, I wish I would have hired you. I thought I was saving me money and I hated every one of those photos. They were so unprofessional. They were so there was no rhyme or reasoning to those photos. And I lost my engagement photos because I went cheap." I said, "That's the price of going cheap, right?" So guys, when you are looking for your event photographer in the future, make sure you think of quality service. Think of what they bring to the table. Think about all these things that we talked about here that I've shared with you. Let's see, are there any questions? Are there any questions with the Q? Put a Q in front. I thought I saw one question. Oh, here's one. Dorian says, "How do you guys bill for events? And do you guys require a deposit?" Always. One is billing with my customers for event photography. My customers are required to pay the full tab, the full invoice 48 hours before the event. It's just how I roll. 48 hours before the event is paid in full. Now, depending on the client, I will adjust some things. But it is my, I charge by the hour. And in that hour is, let's say, 10 to 15 photos per hour. So if they hire me for 2 hours, that base is going to be they're going to get 30 photos, right? For the event, pretty much 30 photos because, it's only 2 hours. I think maybe it's more. I think it's 20. I think it's 20. Sorry, 20 per hour. So now if they decide they want more photos, like lots more photos, they're like, "Ron, we need more photos," then I will charge extra for the extra photos. But every photographer is different. I do charge hourly. If they have me for 8 hours, it's that price times 8 per hour, times 6 hours, 7 hours, whatever. And that's how I charge accordingly. Now, there are some of my clients that are repeat clients. I work adjustments with my repeat clients because they have me. I'm part of their family. I do probably I'm sorry, 5 to 10 events for that one client. I'm not charging them the full rate. I'm kind of giving them some leeway. I gotta give them a little leeway here to show my appreciation for their continual hiring of me. So yes, but yeah, I do make adjustments, but those are my clients there's some clients I've been shooting for 3 years, and I'm shooting for them for every event. Hello, they deserve breaks. So a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. They know the difference. Any other cues? Any other questions? Any other questions? We got 2 minutes, 1 minute, because I gotta get off here because this has to end on time because you will find us on Indie Soup after this. Indie Soup at 4 o'clock in the evening or repeat. And on Friday, I do believe it'll be 6 o'clock. So check out Indie Soup Media and you will see the repeat of this. If you have not subscribed, you can subscribe not on Instagram. Go to YouTube. If you are in the Instagram world, you may want to come on over to our YouTube channel. That's where we live. That's where we are. Subscribe. And if you enjoy this, if you got some information out of this, hit the like button. Anytime you receive something online and you enjoy it, hit the like button. It's the least you can do for content creators. content creators. Okay, let me get this really quick. Why do people always want Chrissy said, why do people always want to haggle? The price is the price. Thank you, my dear. Yeah, exactly. I see here, sir. It's just insane out there. I have no ideas where folks are getting their information. This last lady told me someone said she could get a headshot for $25. Yeah, right. We should also not be afraid to tell people what the price is. Stand firm in that. Sometimes we try to adjust because we think people can't afford it. You're not in their pockets. Absolutely. Dorian says, my classic line is that sounds economical. Maybe I'm not the photographer for you. Best wishes. Nice, nice. Okay. And sometimes you have a less people get their headshots done with the Fisher Price camera and see for themselves. Okay, guys, I'll have to let you guys get out of here. It is almost time. Also for those, if you're interested, I am, where's my little banner here? I do teach photography, so make sure you do that. If you're interested in learning photography, hit me up. Go to my website. You can get that on my website, Photograph Your World. I do teach photography. So I have a couple of students. My student tomorrow, we'll be meeting for our third week, and I'm so excited about her. She was one of my, she works in she has a great job, and she needs her photography lessons to know how to do some stuff. So anyway, I think you should do that. If you're interested, Photos Your World, just go to my webpage, hit Photography 101 on the website. Okay, I think I got it all. I think I got it all. So guys, it's time to leave because I must be on time. Later. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. Later. Now it's later.